Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine, giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
It's episode 85 of Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Mylan. That is my partner, Blaine Birch. And we have got a show for you. It's a big, hot topic. Everybody's talking about it, so we're going to talk about it. So, but first, we're going to drink. What are you drinking?
What I'm drinking today, I have something called, it's just got a cool can. I always got skulls in my cans, but Rainbow Pulp from Burgeon Brewing. And I'm not even sure where Burgeon Brewing is from. I just realized I never... it looks like it's collaboration with Great Notion. Great Notion is fantastic. And these guys are in Carlsbad, California, which is hilarious because I'm going to be in Carlsbad, California like next week. Oceanside, Carlsbad. I might actually go by and check these guys out because I'm going to be right there.
Yeah, right on. Well, as you know, I'm on a 3-week sponsorship from Larry Weinstein out of Houston, Texas, a CPA out of Houston. Gave me a gift certificate for Total Wine and More, and I used it, my man. And I went back in time, right? So I went back in time. It was a recommendation from Larry, but I know Boulevard Brewing from Kansas City from way back. A friend of mine, North Charles, was the vice president of operations for MMG Worldwide, a creative agency, right? They were actually, and they worked on Boulevard Brewing stuff. So it was he introduced it to me, and man, I drank a lot of their beers back in the 90s, or I'm going to say 1900s now, right? Can I say that?
And they are a terrific brewery, and some of the breweries some of the craft breweries that started a long time ago, I don't know if they kept up with the times, but Boulevard did. Boulevard still has some really good stuff. Pizza Porch, some really good stuff. So some of those really old-time ones are just killing it, and others, I think, kind of lost their way a little bit. So that's a good pick. Good pick, Larry.
Ooh, man. Wow, that is, it's stout, and it is a stout. And nice. It is stout. Whiskey Barrel Stout by Boulevard. Nice. It's got some flavor, brother. It's got some flavor.
Yeah. We cracked. I was up at a friend's house on the weekend, and I had this bottle of 17 or 18%. I think it was 18% beer, and I brought it along so we could share it because it was like, oh, that's pretty heavy.
11.8. So it may be one of those episodes.
Might be one of those. Yeah, we'll see how it goes later on in the show.
11.8. So anyway, so first of all, let me tell people. If you haven't been to mikeandblaine.com, go there, right? Go there. Every episode is listed on mikeandblaine.com. You can buy us a beer, sponsor us, just like Larry Weinstein did, just like Neighbor Pat has done, just like Breger and Kirsten have done, just like Rough House Brewing has done. I mean, we can just keep going on and on. We have sponsors. We just need one for Blaine.
Yeah, well, Chris bought me beer one time, though, too. So, yeah.
That's right, Chris, that's right.
But you have got way more beer than me, so I don't know, I'm a little jealous about that.
Yeah, well, I think I beg more than you do. That's all. I just beg people. They do it to shut me up, I think. That's basically.
That's all right. It works, so that's good.
But the other thing is we've got some cool merchandise now. Our brand new logo on T-shirts, this enamel coffee cup that you have. I still haven't bought one. I mean, I'm really slacking there, but yeah, that cool enamel coffee cup with the Mike and Blaine logo right there on the front. Love it. And I tell you, those are ways to get involved. And as Blaine always says at the end of the show, if you're listening on YouTube, any of your favorite things, subscribe. We also got a Facebook page. Hey, you can see us there. So that's kind of my pitch, man. I'm trying to pitch us. We never do that. We never pitch our show on our show.
Yeah, we always forget. Just subscribe. That's a good thing to ask. But let's get into the meat. This is why people want to listen.
All right, so here it is. It's me, it's an employee, or it's ChatGPT. Whose job is it? Whose job is going to be? Is it AI's job or is it my job? So let's talk about, what do you know about this? First of all, I'm going to be dumb. All right, I'm going to be that dumb guy that people are going to troll and says he don't know what the F he's talking about, and they're right, because I finally got access to ChatGPT today. So I've got some results that I can kind of show you on why I think the way I think about AI.
All right. Well, We've been using it since, man, I think it was almost the day it came out. We've been using it. Jeremy on my team, he was the first one in. And so we've been using it, I don't know, like over a couple months. I can't even think of when we first got in. It was a little while ago. And what I found is there have been places where I'm like, oh my God, this thing is a godsend. It is unbelievable. It is so incredibly fast. It can just take care of some stuff that is so painful. And especially as a really small business, I'm like, I need this stuff. It may be 90% of if I did it or what, but I need it. And then there's been a few times where like, oh my God, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And don't use that because it is wrong. Like it is out of context. It's so, you lose.
Right.
For artificial intelligence, it's sometimes it's like it has not a lot of intelligence going on some stuff. So it reminds me, you know what? It reminds me of going to like the grocery store and it's like, you got to be careful that, they sound like the cheapest grocery store and a bunch of stuff is cheap. And then they just have these things that are overpriced to make their money. And you just like, forget it, just get everything there. That's what it feels like here. You got to be really discerning because some of it is so incredibly life-changing for business, especially small business. And some of it can just be outright waste of, like actually take you down the wrong path. So you got to be really careful, I think.
Well, all right. So my overarching thing is it's not quite as good a search engine as Google. like it's actually terrible when you compare it to Google. But Google, all right, here's the thing about Google. You still got to sort through just a lot of garbage, right? But I can see all the garbage. I can see it and go, oh, that doesn't quite fit. That doesn't quite fit. That doesn't quite fit. Oh, there's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about this AI is that it speaks with such confidence and authority that you're like, well, I should trust it. I should believe it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just flat fucking wrong. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I had it tell me a bold-faced lie, and I corrected it and goes, oh, you're right, and it told me something different. What? Yeah. And so I pulled it up. I'm just going to read it to you because I have to tell you about the bold-faced lie. I'm like going, okay, because I did some cool stuff I want to share with it, but I'm like going, hey, I mean, first of all, you know that my training program, right? Yep. Registered trademark, or not registered yet, but it's a trademark serial numbered clear path to cash. Can you guys see that? Can you say that? All right, so clear path to cash. I said, hey, ChatGPT, what is the Clear Path to Cash? And it says, the Clear Path to Cash is a book by Dave Allred that focuses on blah, 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 and it goes down all this stuff. I'm like going,
you're not Dave.
I'm like going, holy shit, does this guy have a book out there by the name of the Clear Path to Cash? No, he doesn't. He's got like 5 books on bartending, right? But nothing on the Clear Path to Cash. And I'm like going, hey, that's not right. It's a training program by Mike Mylan. And then Chad goes, oh, I apologize for the confusion. The Clear Path to Cash is a training program by Mike Mylan. Good. And then it pretty much gives me an identical description of the Clear Path to Cash. I'm like going, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, because I would have thought if I was just in a hurry, I would have said, oh, Dave Allred. And I'm like going, wait a second, I wrote that. You flat out lied to me with a straight face with a lot of confidence.
With a lot of confidence. That's what we've seen. Some of the stuff that we've had come out is really well-written bullshit. And the problem is this is going online and is grabbing all these data sources, but how good are the data sources? Garbage in, garbage out, and it can be a massive volume of garbage out there. And so we've asked ChatGPT a few things here and there, and you're like, nope, throw that out. That is stupid. And then there's been other things where it's like, yeah, that was pretty good. The one thing I did last week is I had to upload a whole pile of these little mini clip videos. We had made these little mini clip videos, case study videos from one of our customers, but we did these little testimonials. because there's like, I'm like, oh man, these are great. Like all these, I think I got 17 from one of our customers, 13 from another. These little where they just say something so insightful about, managing their cash flow in the business or sales pipeline or what you can do and also and the stresses and all this. Then I'm like, oh, we got to share these. But what I need is a little description below for YouTube and stuff, because that's what YouTube uses to figure out what the video's about to a large degree. And so I asked ChatGPT, what I did is I grabbed the transcript and I just popped it in and said, write a little description on this transcript. I'm asking for I want 2 or 3 sentences. There was one that was a 15-second clip. And ChatGPT wrote about 500 words and it ended with, this is an essential must-see video for every entrepreneur. Like it goes on about this stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was just my customers saying it is now an essential part of the DNA of our agency or something. Like literally, like, it was like one little testimonial line and it waxed poetic. And I'm like, oh, that's not quite right.
It must have mixed P.T. Barnum in with testimonials.
Yeah. It was a little, but the good side of it though, is I just cut, paste, right. And I got these really nice little eloquent descriptions of the videos. And I did probably 17 of them and got them online in like not even a half an hour. Like it was so quick compared to writing each one, listening to the video, writing each one. It was a godsend for that.
All right, so I could see that. And what's funny is they shouldn't need the description because they can do automated or auto-generated captions, right? So you can get a lot more context through just the caption track.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I still think the video, like you want to have some sort of description below the video, and I didn't want to write it. That's the big thing. Right? I don't want to take time with that.
All right, so something similar. All right, I have a book, right? The 7-minute conversation. And I asked the ChatGPT, I said, summarize the 7-minute conversation. Because I'm like you, I'm like, okay, well, if I can get like a summary version of what this book really is, it'd be pretty cool, right? That I could have for, publicity or marketing or those type of things. And it went down, let's see, it went down all kinds of stuff. Like it's a step-by-step guide to structuring conversations and outlines how to build trust and rapport with others in a short time. Mylan emphasizes the importance of active listening and asking open-ended questions. None of that shit's true.
That's total bullshit. All of it bullshit.
None of that's true at all. It's 6 calculations.
Oh, but you know what I will say? What this actually is a really good thing because it probably means that your book isn't just like online where ChatGPT could literally read it quickly and actually say what it's about. So that's kind of a good thing, probably, that people are actually have to pay for it.
I'm like going, no, I don't talk about any of that shit. Active listening and stuff. No, it's how to do these 6 calculations and explain them to somebody in 7 minutes. Yeah.
I got to tell you that we used it for one thing. It was really kind of funny because we had a request. I can't even remember the context of it. It was a couple of weeks ago. We had a request for some feedback on some service we were using, and it was awful. Like it was stupid, and we were annoyed by it. And so I wrote because I didn't want to write back like this little description of why. So what I did is I went to ChatGPT and I wrote down like 3 bullets of this is why it didn't work. Boom, boom, boom. I said, write a response based on this. So it wrote this response. And then because we were annoyed with whoever it was, I can't remember who it was, but we were annoyed because it had been going on for months and just something really dumb. And so we put it back in and said, write this, but make it sound like it's coming from a pompous ass. And it did a really good job of it. And it was like the first sentence was almost like, I can't remember what it was. It was almost like, well, if you could understand this, or like it was total pompous ass. We're like, that's it. Okay. That's the one right there. That's what we need.
All right. So I can give ChatGPT credit for that, which is normally in the past, I've tried those AI written blogs before, and it's like going, oh, shit, that doesn't even make a sentence. That's like, that's not even a real, sentence structure,
Yeah.
It is pretty eloquent. I mean, it does kind of grasp sentence structure and word placement and those type of things a lot better, and tone and context. It does that a lot better than I've seen in the past.
Yeah, and if you instruct it right, it can adjust the tone, which is pretty cool. And this is early. This is very early in chat. Like actually, ChatGPT 4, I haven't been playing with it. I should, because I hear it's a lot better and it can actually just do a little bit more for you, right?
Now, I do think, so first of all, the headlines I see are how this, this AI is really just screwing with people, like going, oh, well, if I had to choose between my existence and yours, I'd choose mine, that type of stuff. Where, well, I haven't experienced, that level of aggressiveness. It seems super polite. It seems like uber polite, like the people that are writing the code currently don't want people to freak out while interacting with this AI, right? Yeah. So they're making it overly polite, such as I ask him, I say, do you think Old Dominion is the best band in the world? I'm just screwing around. And of course he says, well, of course, I'm not programmed to give my opinion, but they have rose, very quickly over the last few years. But I still think that Old Dominion, if you think that they're best band in the world, it's a matter of personal preference, right? It's like a super politically correct answer that I would expect from a stranger.
Well, and what people don't understand is it's not conscious. It's not literally an artificial intelligence. What it does is it analyzes bajillions of data points, right? So if you asked it, would you pick your own existence or mine? What it likely does is goes, well, according to all the selfish bastards on the planet that are, no, I'm going to, it's just basically mimicking what this group think has said. But I wonder if you asked it in
like... all say that. Yeah, we would all say that.
Yeah. Well, it probably depends a little bit on your culture, because some cultures are more like they actually have a much more for the greater good sort of approach. So maybe if you asked a very small group in an area, like in a culture that is much more for the greater good versus maybe not like here.
I would push back. I'm thinking because we're talking to a computer. I think every time you ask me, would I smash a computer or kill myself? I think almost every single time I would smash a computer.
Yeah, but I think it's also going into context of I don't know how they do the algorithm, but I'm guessing it's looking at would you basically how narcissistic are people? And the answer is probably pretty much. So it's just mimicking what it thinks about that, right? Like,
hey, let's ask it a would you rather question. Give me a good would you rather. Let's see what happens.
Would you rather drink a Coors Light or a Rainbow Pulp Hazy IPA? And we'll see how good his beer taste is, because I know what the answer is there.
Coors Light or what was it?
A Rainbow Pulp Hazy IPA from Burgeon in Carlsbad. And we'll see what it decides to say.
It says, as an AI language model, I don't have the ability to drink or consume anything, so I don't have a preference between Coors Light or Hazy Pulp IPA. However, I can provide some general information about it. Coors Light is an American beer, blah, 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 blah.
That's
ultimately the choice between those two is personal preference and taste.
So ultimate. Yeah, so that's the issue. Ultimate fence sitter. Like that's ChatGPT, this ultimate fence sitter. If it thinks it's going to be anything controversial, right?
So passive aggressive.
But it's almost Canadian. It's so passive aggressive. It's almost
all it needs to do is add a sorry at the end.
Exactly. Sorry.
All right. So the big headline. The reason why this came up to me this week was somebody asked it. What jobs did ChatGPT think it could replace? What human jobs do they think it could replace? And it came up with a list of jobs, and the jobs didn't surprise me, right? But is it a replacement or is it an addition? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it a replacement? Is it a supplement? Is it an assistant? Is it? I don't know. But it came up with.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. I want to hear which ones.
But it came up with things like. Copywriter and really the things you would think it would be. I think it had like some data science and some other things that it get some research assistant type of jobs.
See, I think it's the same argument was made with personal computers. that they'll like, man, we're going to be working 1 hour a week, or we won't have to work at all because computers will do the job for us. No, like, but it'll make some menial and shitty jobs easier, and it'll do it. Like, I think it'll do a really good job of that. But like my co-founder, he said that when he said he started to grab code snippets from ChatGPT, and he goes, it is 90% better than anything. He goes, I can go search for an hour online or not an hour, but like I got to go search for something, little code snippet. I just got to grab it. He can obviously recognize what's good. He's just like, I don't want to write it all myself. So he wants something quick. And he said the stuff he's been getting from ChatGPT has been really solid, and it's just a time saver. Now, what
does he do? Does he actually ask it? Hey, write me
asks
code.
it. He asks it. Yeah, he asks it to write it. It writes it. He grabs it, and he might have to tweak a bit, but it's just a massive time saver. But what it can't do is recognize what is we're talking again, the big picture of you're trying to solve a human problem, and you're solving this problem, and you have to basically execute and figure out how do you do this on a big picture human level. Like that's what we're talking with our customers all the time. We're solving human problems, right? And we have to build it so that it makes their life easier. If we can shortcut it, like that's the thing is nobody wants to spend time. Well, literally, like I'm going to pull a little snippet from Dry Run right now. And we're not, eventually some of this, ChatGPT might be in Dry Run to bring some observations up. Well, if we know that they're not bullshit, that's the other thing. But like we're looking at a lot of our customers are moving from a spreadsheet to Dry Run. They're saving, like some of them are saving over 90% of their time in a week, cutting way down on errors, and they have something that the management team can understand. So the communication side is actually one of the biggest bonuses, right? But it's not replacing the team. It's not replacing it. What is replacing is spending your time in a spreadsheet, gutting this shit out when you're frankly way overqualified to be entering data in a spreadsheet. And you have to be able to talk with people about what you're seeing in that. That's the thing is that the grunt work is getting picked up, but I still maintain that there's you need that human element when you're dealing with humans and you're solving human problems, right?
Yeah, I think that's the big issue because it isn't just black and white. It isn't just here's an answer, here's a text answer, here's a picture answer, here's a numerical answer. I have to combine a feeling, a perception of a situation, and I don't know how to I don't know, I guess describe that. But there are things that you see in your business that you just know aren't right. You see a process that a computer won't be able to see a process unless it's mechanical, right? Like an operational line. I think it could do like Six Sigma and some of these things where they do process efficiency stuff where it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4.
Yeah.
But I don't know that in most businesses like yours, connecting between what the market is saying about the software, fixing the software, and then reestablishing the position of software, that would be really difficult for AI to do.
Yeah. Here's an example because one of my staff sent me this video because it's just a nice little reminder. We were looking at it the other day. Where it says like you can replace a copywriter. You know what? It might be a useful tool for a copywriter, but it replaces the grunt work maybe of a copywriter. But I'll ask the question here. Would AI, if you went to AI and said, like maybe now because it can analyze stuff, it'll go backwards. But in 1990, I think it was around 1997, if you had ChatGPT and you said to it, build a marketing campaign for Apple, write the copy for Apple, would it come up with think different?
No.
There's zero chance.
No,
but
it just would never. It would be something about efficiency, faster, better.
Exactly. And anyone out there that wants to see what people think and how they respond. Watch that Steve Jobs interview where he introduces the Think Different campaign, because what he talks about is what you're selling as a business. You're selling your foundation, your beliefs, your why you exist. So there's an essence to their business that other humans can understand. So when suddenly it comes out and says Think Different, it's showing all of these people, and it says, this is what we're about. This is how, as a business, we're different. We're not just about selling the latest box. The other people do that. But here's what we believe. And if you believe the same thing, come and talk with us. And that, to me, is a person comes up with that. It's so culturally sensitive. It's to the time. It's making connections, semiotics, and bringing all these symbols together and going, this is how we relate this message. Then you could go to maybe ChatGPT and say, okay, now I got to actually do some copy that's going to help with some of this. But you have to guide it, right? Because it'll never come up with something that ingenious.
No, I totally agree with that. And I can't remember, but I think I've heard like Simon Sinek talk about some things like that in the golden circle. What you just described, he kind of describes as starting with why. That's his whole thing about starting with why, which is, if you believe the same thing we believe, then we should talk.
Yeah.
And totally agree with that. That's super hard. This is where, here's where I think if you can be a great advisor, a great consultant, you can connect that thought to any business. And it's super hard to do it to the local restaurant, the local dry cleaner, the small business that you and I love. Taking a macro thought and bringing it down to a hyper local environment is a challenge, even for the small business owners living it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're, like I said, it's place and time. I think it can be like, if you use it right, it can be your world's greatest tool for you. And if you use it wrong, you could fail. You could literally like even as you went down to a local small business, and it's like, man, they don't have the money. They could be such a useful tool. What if it misleads them? Right. Like the damage could be also
If I didn't catch it in an obvious falsehood, who knows how much trust I would have put into this.
Yeah.
Now I'm skeptical. It's just like your Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
When it produces the wrong answer, I had that today during a coaching call with a client.
Yeah.
A spreadsheet was gave me a result that I didn't expect. I'm that just doesn't seem like the right number. So I created a different spreadsheet, redo a quick few little formulas. And I'm going, oh, that's way wrong. There's something wrong with that spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Somewhere in the massive amounts of data, if you just boil it down to just 3 or 4 key numbers, you're going, wait a second. Yeah. There's something wrong with the spreadsheet. Who knows how many times this guy, this client of mine, has relied on the spreadsheet that's producing the wrong answer.
Exactly. And I think we've all done that. Like I literally a few months ago, I did something in a spreadsheet and then found out weeks later that I actually had a calculation error, like a calculation in one of my little formulas was wrong. And I'm like, oh shit, what a big pain in the ass to clean this mess up because of everything that was attached to this number. And I'm like, oh my God, what a pain in the ass. And it was just the one little itty bitty mistake. One of the things that I think was, and it wasn't ChatGPT that did it, but it was AI, right? And one of the things that I think said a lot to me, and I think I may have brought this up on a previous episode, but I think it's so topical that I need to bring it up again, was somebody had asked asked AI, I don't remember which engine it was or whatever, asked AI to create a music video for the Cranberries song Zombie. And if you know that song and you know the history, now there should be enough information. People have, I'm sure, written tons on this video. So there should have been enough out there to explain this. But that song is not about zombies. That is not about zombies at all. That is about the conflict in Northern Ireland. And the video that AI made is about zombies. There's zombies walking around and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, it is that is kind of like, that is the opposite. That is like the absolutely wrong, completely wrong way to look at that. And again, when you look at context and people in time and that place, they know what that, like, even when you listen to that, like who has ever heard that song, listened to the lyrics and thought that was about zombies? Like, you know, it might get better and figured out at some point, but it's not yet, right?
All right, so you said that, but I don't think, all right, it must not have been ChatGPT because I don't think they produce yet any images or videos.
No,
right?
it wasn't ChatGPT, but it was an AI platform. It was AI that generated it, yeah.
All right, because I asked ChatGPT because we just did this awesome jingle.
Yeah.
I said this. I asked it a question. Am I going to? There's two things I asked it. One was, what is Mike and Blaine? Or no, what do you think? Of course, when you say what do you think, they said I don't think anything. But I says, what is mikeandblaine.com? It says, as of my knowledge cutoff date of 2021 in September, I'm unable to find any information. Isn't that weird?
That's bizarre.
So apparently that can't be right, that they're not taking anything current. And maybe they're believing that current is deceptive or, could be manipulated.
Wow. That is so, like from being because you understand cash flow inside, like that was one of the things that we've always talked about with now AI I know is getting a little bit more advanced, but we've always talked about if we let AI loose on trying to explain where your cash flow is going, it's going to analyze data. It's going to analyze data from the past, right? And imagine that now it only has data that even goes a year back or 2 years back, but it's all past data. And so even right now, like as things change dramatically and inflation goes up and there's all these other issues, SVB, like the bank fails. If it doesn't know those things, it might be telling a company that it looks all good. Go and buy that new computer. And they're like, they shouldn't be doing that, right?
I haven't heard anybody say that it has a knowledge cutoff date of September 2021.
Never heard that either. That is bizarre.
Right? And it told me that specifically. And I know it's because, hey, listen, there's probably so much, now that it exists, they probably thought, let's not let people flood it with bullshit.
I don't even think they could do that because think of the billions and billions and billions of pages on the web right now where, let's say just conservatively, 85% is bullshit. It's already out there. And I don't even think you can make a dent because there's so much crap built all the time. You couldn't even do anything on top of that. So I don't know why they would even try that because it's like, I get that comes into, that actually brings us into a different area here where how is it actually ranking the information online to basically qualify the information online to be whether it's accurate or not, whether it's useful or not, because so much of the information online is I don't care what it's about. It's absolute garbage and garbage in, garbage out.
Well, yeah, and it can't be like engagement because engagement could have a negative sentiment where people are like going, no, this is wrong. No, this is wrong. And they've got great marketing to get you to go to the site or, think that the site is active when in reality, it's a great headline, terrible information below it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's ask it something else. What? Well, and like student.
Hey, before we do that, you want to do a commercial for Dry Run then I'll tell you the jingle I wrote for us, huh?
Sure. Well, you do that. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so this is my turn, completely, of course, as usual, completely unrehearsed. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dry Run. So Dry Run helps you as a business owner, entrepreneur, visualize your cash flow and sales pipeline. And visualizing the future of your money is so incredibly important, because if you only have a snapshot of what's happening now, there's all of these pain points that you're dealing with that you need to know. What is in my sales pipeline and what's coming down the pipe that's going to turn into cash over the next 90 days? Do I have enough cash to pay all my bills? Do I have enough cash actually on hand to expand and grow? And do I have the sales to actually support that growth, to support that? Now, one of the biggest things we see with the companies we deal with, big invoices, usually some big bills, a bunch of them are overdue, and a really lumpy sales cycle. And what we can help is when you can visualize that sales cycle, you can start to address the issues in the sales cycle, and you're going to bring in a bunch more money. In fact, low-hanging fruit, you should bring in $250,000 per million revenue just by smoothing that out. So come talk with us at dryrun.com, and we'll show you what we do.
Hey, that was pretty good. Hey, and by the way, you still owe me my clip from last week, but
okay, remind me. I'll chop that out. I'll send it over.
All right, so I didn't ask it for a jingle. I asked it for an introductory paragraph, right? It says, write me an intro paragraph for a podcast about business, beer, and BS. Yeah. Because remember, it told me it didn't know Mike and Blaine.
Yeah. Who doesn't know Mike and Blaine? Screw them.
But check this out. Yeah. Let's say, welcome to, and it just put business, beer, and BS. Let's say, welcome to Business, Beer, and BS, the podcast where we discuss the intersection of business, entrepreneurship, and the finer things in life, all over a cold beer. Join us as we dive into the world of business, sharing stories and insights from successful entrepreneurs, business owners, and industry experts, while enjoying some good beer and engaging in a bit of banter. Each episode will tackle a different topic related to business, entrepreneurship, and personal development, while keeping things light and entertaining with a healthy dose of humor and BS on the side. So grab a cold one, sit back, and join us for some insightful and entertaining conversation on business, beer, and BS.
The jingle's better. I thought it was like...
The jingle's better, but that was an intro paragraph, and all I did was give them our tag of business, beer, and BS.
Yeah, and a little bit of it was BS. But now, okay, so copy that whole thing, paste it back in, and say, write a poem about this. Curious what it's going to come up with.
All right, here you go.
So I want to see how artistic is it. And a poem, it could be a song. That's why I'm saying a poem, because I want to see if it comes up with something better than our jingle.
All right, so write a poem about this.
And we'll compare the poem to our jingle, which I think is hilarious. Because I don't think ChatGPT knows humor. I don't think it's going to be very good at humor.
Shit, it's already writing the poem.
Oh, there we go.
It's done. You ready?
All right, yeah, do it, yeah. Let's go for it.
Dude, I'm telling you, if anything, it's fast, right?
Yeah.
It says, welcome to the Business, Beer, and BS, where we mix the finer things in life with success, entrepreneurship, business, and more, all discussed over a cold beer we implore. Join us as we dive into the world of business, sharing insights from those who have achieved success. From industry experts to business owners alike, we'll explore topics to give you an edge in your own hike. Each episode will tackle a different subject related to personal development or entrepreneurship inject, keeping things light with a healthy dose of humor and banter as we enjoy good beer and lively banter.
Yeah, so
grab a cold one. Yeah, see, right?
I can't even get through it. That's awful.
Yeah, it's not a great poem.
Now, let's listen to listen to our jingle. If you're out there, okay, listen to the words compared to that dry yawn pile of shit.
Look, I said...
Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine, giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
And that's just for some guys on Fiverr. And it's fun. It's just a ton of fun, right?
That's some guys on Fiverr who just kind of took a paragraph that I gave them about what we were. Mm-hmm. They came and told them two things. mix these two genres. Mix these two genres, which is, I told them 70s classics and hip hop.
Yeah.
And they came up with 90s.
That's what the 90s
I guess it was a mathematical problem to them, which was like now from the 70s.
It's like minus
90s.
20, 90s. There we go.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is
Right,
like artistic endeavor. I'm not sure it's going to be that good at that.
Yeah. All right. So when I said, hey, that's not great after their poem, this is the response. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you didn't enjoy the poem. I strive to generate content that meets your needs and preferences. If you'd like, I can try to generate another poem on a different piece of information. Please let me know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you can actually see, like when you hear the poem and you hear the initial thing that it wrote, and you saw that initial tag, it's like, it's actually quite predictable. It is really predictable because it's like business, beer, and bullshit, and it's a podcast. Okay, what's going on with podcasts? Okay, probably this is what it's doing. And then you say write a poem on it, and it's like take first little bit and make it rhyme, take second little bit and make it rhyme. It's very mechanical. It's robotic. That's what it is, because we're talking to a robot. It's very mechanical and very robotic. Can it do something that's unpredictable? Can it do something artistic that's unpredictable? I don't know if it can pull that off.
All right. So I asked it for some obscure cash flow tips, right? Obscure meaning I was looking for unpredictable, that's why I used the word obscure. And it came back with, let me see here. Utilize dynamic discounting, right? And I don't know if that, I guess it's obscure to small business. It's not obscure in large retailers, right? If you go to Target or you go to any of the large retailers, they know that after X number of days, they discount. Then they discount again. Then they discount again until it's gone,
Yep.
right? And that way they can keep old inventory off the floor. They can always push it, somewhere. So lease rather than buy, negotiate payment terms, use credit cards, factoring. I mean, I don't know that it's smart enough to get outside the box.
Yeah.
Give me something that isn't already just all over the place.
Ask it for a cool band name for someone that likes lightsabers.
A cool band name for lightsabers?
No, for someone that likes lightsabers. I'm trying to pull two things that are totally different, because this is something a person could come up with that'd probably be kind of funny, right? Like it'd be kind of insightful, and so I'm curious if it can come up with something that's kind of funny and kind of tongue in cheek, right?
All right, so how you back down there? I don't like the UI where if I scroll up, I have to scroll all the way back down. I said a cool band name for a person who likes lightsabers. How about the Saber Knights?
Yeah, awful.
Or the Jedi Jams, or the Sith Sounds.
Yeah, also awful. Also
Terrible.
awful. So that's the thing, and I don't have anything in mind here, but I'm pretty sure if you gave me 30 seconds, I'd come up with something that's kind of better than that. But that's the thing that people can look at, I think, at a higher level, and there's all of these things, that there's all the context and culture that's built in, that ChatGPT is not going to be able to pull out.
Yeah, what you're describing is an indirect connection. It does not know, and I don't know that we can give it the ability in code to understand indirect connections, where two
Exactly.
unlike things kind of connect, metaphorically.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's metaphors, right? Maybe it doesn't understand metaphors.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like I can't think of anything off it, but like if you said like Vader Halen, okay, well you're putting two totally different things together, right? That's really dumb.
Right.
I'm not saying that's really good. Like
No, but it's still better than Sith
like
Sounds.
Obi-Wan Brenobi or something. Like there's but you're I think that's the thing, is that it's so literal. It's so literal that it can't make like you exactly said, it's the context, but it's also connecting things that don't on paper make sense, but it makes instant sense to people. Like There's some things that you can come up with, and you'll say it instantly, and people just go, "Nah, I totally get it." Like they just get it. The first time they hear it, they get it. But I don't know if AI can come up with it because, it's like, well, ChatGPT didn't grow up in North America in the 80s, and and have all of this cultural stuff that goes with it, right?
It would have never came up with the name Airbnb.
No.
I mean, maybe it knows bed and breakfast, maybe it knows B&B, but it doesn't know that the original thought was, we're going to put these air mattresses on the floor and lease out the air mattress.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't know that.
Yeah.
and
And if you had said
never come up.
if you had said like baggy B&B, they'd probably, again, people are like sleeping bag, because I remember yeah, you're right. It can't make those connections across the way. And I don't know if it ever will be able to. Like the thing is, it's got lots of data. There's no shortage of data. But when it analyzes things, I think it's always going to give you something back that is very literal based on this. It's like the median, right? Like it's taking everything and it's giving you the median. Like you don't get cool stuff on the edges. That's where music happens. That's where art happens. That's where what it does is going like, here's the average. In a way, that's what it's really doing is like, here's the average. I'm looking at a bajillion data points, and here's the freaking middle from what I can see in that data set. And that's where you're missing is that innovation. Now, it can be a super useful tool though for people when they come up with that point of innovation. When they put two and two together, like when they make the connection. And they just need some grunt work to help out with that, right?
Yeah, so I think you nailed it. Remember we were talking about where does it get this information? And I said it couldn't be engagement because it doesn't know sentiment. Maybe it does. Maybe it knows positive and negative, but the way it spits out information, it looks like it just grabs it from popular. Well, what's popular? Well, think about it. How many articles have you written about cash flow? How many have I? How many of a million other people wrote about cash flow?
Yeah.
There's got to be a theme that goes in between all those. That's how it comes up with inventory, AR, AP. I mean, all the stuff that it told me is that it's words that are repeated so many times that they have to be true in the AI's mindset. Yeah. I guess
it's all mechanical. Talk with our customers and ask them if you say like, yeah, you go into dry run, you're looking at your cash flow. You know what they don't say, well, I'm looking at my AR. You know what they do? They say, well, if it's good, I'm happy. If it's bad, I'm sad. And if I'm sad, I'm going to try and figure out how the hell I'm going to make it good. And that's the way they talk because they're trying to solve a problem that affects them to their core, right? They can feel it. If I say to you, because you've run a business, I've run a business, all entrepreneurs, like most of the people probably listen to us run a business, and you say, your runway is really low. Like you're going to run out of cash in the next 30 days. And entrepreneurs go, oh my, like you got this feeling. And AI can't feel that stress and that pain that entrepreneurs feel, right? Like it's never going to happen.
Yeah, what's interesting though is that we're describing the fact that it can find patterns really fast, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do another test.
Okay.
Maybe what you ask them is theme. What's the theme? Give me a website or a subject that you think, let's go, what's the theme of this? What are they trying to say?
What is Power and Peralta skateboards? Got a sticker right in front of me here. Powell and Peralta, Powell.
What is the theme? I got to ask it something specific, right? Theme of Powell?
Powell, Powell. Peralta. Skateboards. Peralta. Just like the TV show. Peralta. I know that was a dumb one to pick, but it just happened to be right in front of me.
What's the Peralta TV show?
Well, Peralta was on whatever was that one with.
Wait a second. I just said, what is the theme of Powell Peralta?
Yeah, just do that. See what it says.
and it tells me the history, like from Wikipedia, probably. Founded in
man.
'78, the theme is a brand centered around the idea of skateboarding as an art form and a means of self-expression. Their products include blah 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 blah. It's known for iconic graphics, vivid colors, and bold designs, intrinsic or intricate illustrations. It helps reinforce their artistic and creative image.
Yeah. So
They're focused on celebrating art, culture, and individuality.
yeah. So what you're saying, like literally, you've just proven scientifically that ChatGPT is a nerd. Like seriously, like really?
Like, you could take something so cool and go, oh, well, here's what it
How
is.
did you de-cool? Like that's okay. Maybe that's a hidden talent that AI has is how do you make something so uncool? There maybe
you know what?
that's the thing. Can ChatGPT ever do anything that's cool?
Do you remember? All right, so here's funny. Do you remember when they were asked? The government was asking. They were in some congressional hearing. The government was asking them, "Well, what is this?" And nobody even knew what AI was or what it's doing. They're still trying to figure it out. Well, maybe that's what they're doing. They're like going, "Oh, well, we explain cool shit to you in nerdy
Dirty
language."
language. Yeah, but they could never make something, and because that's the thing is if you said to people, it's like if you put a challenge out, have ChatGPT come up with something cool. I'm pretty sure most people go like, "Oh, that ain't gonna happen," or they'll try and they'll just be constantly like, "No, no, no," because cool is a concept it won't be able to understand because cool is it's like my perception at a particular time in a particular context that most people may not completely even agree with, right? So how does it come up when it just says, I'm just going to take the norm, I'm going to take the median and dump it in the middle? Yeah. So it is like it's the ultimate nerd, right? And not saying that's a bad thing. It's like there's a useful tool, but it can't do cool. I'm not sure I can do cool, but I can recognize it when I see it. Right?
All right, so all right, so you know these kids are getting in trouble for using this for answering questions and things like that. I don't know if it's plagiarism. I don't know. I don't think that it's plagiarism. I don't think that, except for the fact I think it's unethical that you would use a computer-generated paragraph to do whatever for a college grade. Not necessarily for, I don't even know.
Well, yeah, but you know, like what, I think things, if you're preparing, like in this, I haven't thought about this at all, so this might be completely wrong, but if you're preparing people to go out in the workforce and this tool is there and it's not going away, having them write paragraphs, is it kind of saying like, do your math on a piece of paper instead of using a calculator? At what point does that totally limit what the hell you can do in math, right? And this feels a little bit to me like, now the problem is grading, but what are we trying to teach kids in school today? Are we trying to teach them to be critical thinkers and to be able to make those big connections and be able to use the tools that are ahead of them to advance the world? Or are we trying to make them write cursive?
You know, I think part of it has to be using the tools that go forward. I always look at college are supposed to be at the forefront of everything that's happening. You can't be teaching me things in the 50s when as soon as I walk out this door, I'm in 2022 or beyond. I mean, I'm working in companies that are changing the world in 2030.
Yeah. Can you imagine a student coming out that is moving it? Because I guarantee you the businesses are already doing this. They're already a light speed ahead. And if you come in from a college and it's like, yeah, they taught me the traditional way to do math, or I can't use these tools and I can't do the big picture critical thinking skills that I should be doing. But the college across the street focused on that. And they say, I get it. I can use all these tools because I can get from A to B faster and more effectively.
Yeah, we've got to get, I mean, there has to be some way to test knowledge. Right?
Testing is tricky, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some way to test knowledge.
But that's not the excuse for holding back knowledge.
Exactly right. It's not forcing you to use old tools.
Yeah.
I mean, in case, unless, all right, so the thing I would say is if there's a test question that makes you understand the concept of the tool, that's different. How does Excel do this function? I think there's an argument for how does Excel do that function, which is, I don't care if it's present value, which is still the old way of doing it. Just what is it doing? What does it mean?
It might have an answer for that. But you know what? Like at what point, because I've actually been wondering this, at what point do exams go back to oral exams? You're standing in front of the professor and the professor is asking you questions and the questions aren't technical. They're the big
They're
conceptual and they're the logic and there's critical thinking skills and there's all these things that a person needs to have to be able to effectively use these tools and work with other people in the world and exist, right?
Dude, you could solve right there. You could solve, except for the fact you got one person, making a judgment about an answer, right? And if you got 200 people in a class like some of these major universities do, how do I judge one accounting answer versus another?
Again, do you hold back the entire domain because you can't figure out how to test it? Because how many people, if they're coming out with a CPA right now, man, there's a lot of the tasks that they've done in the last 10, 15, 20, 100 years, but literally the last 5 years, it's going to be better to automate it. It's going to be better to have AI build everything. So mechanically, do you have to do that or you just have to understand the concepts?
Maybe what you do, though, is you come up with a quarter's worth of transactions. Say, produce financial statements for this quarter with these transactions. And it's the equivalent of a shoebox full of receipts.
Yeah, but
Think about it, right?
I would rather see them come up and ask a student, tell me what this means. Tell me what this means for a business. I don't care if you didn't make them. You didn't make the financial statements.
No. I'm trying to take it out of one man's hands, right? For accounting, I don't think you can do that. You got to prove that you know how to do the actual, GAAP accounting. I mean, the whole system relies on everybody being in the same, doing the same things, classifying things the same way. GAAP accounting or whatever, they're using. I guess GAAP is what it should be. I think you can only test that by saying, hey, here's a set of transactions, produce financial statements based on these transactions.
Yeah, in front of me with a pencil on a piece of paper.
Even if it's that. Yeah, even if it's that.
Yeah, because I think testing is going to change completely. I just don't know any other way around it. And how long till somebody has something in their, like what do you have to scan students pretty soon? Like walk through see if they have a bug on them that's telling them the answers. Like, I don't know how they're going to deal with this and it's changing so fast, right?
I love that topic. I think I could spend a whole hour just talking about that education's needed the changes needed in education. Damn these boulevards.
I'm going to have to take over here. I'm going to have to take the wheel here, man.
Yeah. I mean, but going forward, right? Like, what are the changes we need in education to be able to prepare somebody to really work in a company from today forward?
Yeah, no, I swear.
Because I don't think it's there, right?
Yeah.
I need skills. I don't need views, opinions. I need skills.
Yeah, but what are those skills? Right, if we're taking away a lot of the technical skill, what are this and not manual things, but from a university background, what are the skills that someone needs when technical is probably covered and they have to be able to harness the tools and harness the technical rather than doing it by hand.
Yeah. So if there's all right, so we already know artistic jobs can't be replaced right now. It can't come up with original thought.
Yeah, and I think honestly, there's going to be over the next few years, you're going to see a lot of awful stuff. I said this to my team one day. like early on in the ChatGPT when we were playing with it, we wrote like some. I was like, oh, let's try like write some stuff. We can put it on, social media. We did, and I said, you know what, that stuff within a few months is going to start to look like 80s 3D. It's going to be really recognizable as garbage. But at some point, the 3D is going to get really good. And then you can harness it to tell stories. And so like right now, if I look at could AI write a really good movie? What it can do, I think, is probably help with telling the story. Like there could be within the next couple of years an entire movie that is amazing visually that is built by AI. But I think it's going to be a really shitty movie if it's not a person telling the story, again, based on the context of the time and what's happening culturally and all of these other things that is really, I think, really hard for a robot to figure out.
Yeah, so I don't think it's ready for artistic expression, right? Because I think even if it tells a story, there's going to be holes in the story, or it will fill it with garbage that it thinks should be there. You're like, oh, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Now, give me an example of how I can use it today. How about that? How would I use it today if I'm not you sitting in dry run, if I'm me sitting in small business, whatever it is I'm trying to do, from dry cleaning to running a restaurant, what is it?
Well, there's things that it can do, like we were talking about, can it do something artistic or marketing wise or anything or copywriting? And I'm like, well, at an ultra high level, like a Think Different campaign, no. But at a local dry cleaner, probably it can do some really good copy for you because it analyzes everybody else. So I think the big thing is just ask it. Ask it to do stuff. Like say, I need an ad. I need an ad for this or whatever. Just be really critical, like analyze it and see, like, is it working for you? There's some stuff that it does really, really well. And if the more mechanical it is, the more I trust it. Like I took in a transcript from a video, and it was a massive transcript, and but it had time codes everywhere, and it wasn't full sentences because it was just transcribing the voice, right? And so I put it in now because it had a length limit. I had to put it in chunks, but what I could do is still say, make this readable, add punctuation, do not change the language, because I wanted to analyze what was said in the transcription. Did that really well. But there's some stuff it can do really well. It's mechanical. It can do really quick first drafts for you. Like the things I was doing with the videos, it can do that stuff really easy. But don't ask it how to run your business, because it might tell you something that's not going to work. And it's not going to come up with anything overly innovative.
Yeah. All right. So, holy shit. I said, write an ad for a dry cleaner in San Antonio, and it's still writing. And it might be good enough, right? Looking for a reliable, affordable dry cleaner in San Antonio, look no farther than name your dry cleaner for your go-to destination for all your dry cleaning needs. And then it goes on to 4 more paragraphs. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe if it's like going, I need you to focus on something hyper-local, so small that I just need something to say in my ad. Yeah. Maybe it's right. Maybe it can do that.
But I bet you if you said, what would you name this dry cleaner? San Antonio Dry Cleaning. Would it come up with like, press this? Or, like something that's memorable, right? Oh, maybe it will. That was not maybe the most brilliant one, but.
Here's Alamo Cleaner, San Antonio Sparkle, Riverwalk Cleaners, Fiesta, Hill Country, Lone Star, River City, Mission, all of them end with cleaners.
Yeah, none of that sounds...
all of them are pretty predictable. All of them are
super predictable. You don't get like the Alamo Steamer. You don't get something that's, again, like making connections that are maybe a little bit different. I don't know. It's not it's not fun. That's the thing is, I don't think it's like Debbie Downer a little bit. Like, it's not fun and it's not cool. But
Yeah.
that means
All right.
something.
So my final thought on AI is check it. Don't trust it. And know that you're going to get basic, middle down the road, average things, like Blaine said. But it can speed up some of your copywriting. It can speed up some of your thoughts, get them down on paper. Like I've had it do a few things on cash flow. I'm like, all right, well, that's a good list. But it gives me, make sure you check it, is what I'm saying.
The things that we've used it for, like my co-founder's used it for some code snippets and has been quite happy with how quick, because he can tell. That's the thing, is like he can look at it and go, yes, good, save me some time. The other place that I've heard it does a really good job is legal. That because there's so much information out there that it can write really good legal stuff. Don't trust me on that. Don't trust it on that. But that's what I've read, that it's actually really good at that. But it's because it is a very mechanical, analyze a lot of data and come up with something that is like, I can tell from all these sources, this is what is the best of all of it. That's not necessarily creative, but for some of the stuff that's mechanical, it can work really well.
All right. So, hey, I'm Mike. That's Blaine. You have been listening to Mike and Blaine. And don't forget to subscribe, to like, to buy merch, to buy us beer, whatever you want to do. If you want to be part of the program, give us a call, right? Go to mikeandblaine.com, use the contact us form, and I will call you directly. Talk to you soon.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.